All right, folks, welcome on back here this Friday afternoon, June 18th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The last trading day, I should rather say, before Father's Day. So in advance, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. A quick shout out to Henry Levitan, that is. Great to see Patrick, Leda, Jason, all of our students live inside the cyber group room, at least there. I saw Jason pick up like 35 cents or so on the ALF just before. Leda picked up 40 cents right now. She was in from 772. So, hey, we'll talk about this trade to begin. Great to see all of us on social media again, Facebook Live, YouTube. Let's hop right into it. So, ALF, a stock that we are pretty familiar with just at this point from this week, right? So this ended up popping up on our radar rather quickly after the market opened up. It wasn't really like one that I was too jumpy to watch, going into the open. It's just one that popped right away after. So we caught it pretty early, ended up dying off pretty early, as you could see on the 5-minute chart, but more so heading into this afternoon, re-breaking above resistance off of 7, really giving little fight off the level. Ended up kind of just popping over it right after 1:30 Eastern Time. Held pretty nicely over it as support, right? Like very little fight with seeing this trying to squeeze up higher, hold it as support. So gotta love to see it. Makes it much easier of a trade to pick up more money on. But yeah, for the afternoon, we'll put this on our list. Just be careful of the impending pullback, as you could see down to 8. A lot of talking today for Fridays, so I tend to say that frequently, but that's just typically my day. So I apologize for the scratchy throat. Also, still coming off that vacation from last week. But ALF, yeah, for right now, easily going to put this on our main watch list right at the top. It's up 30+%. Would have found it anyway. Number like 3 on the gainers list for right now. All right, so you know what? We'll make it easy. We'll make it short. Look at the SPY. You could just see, really didn't do much after the market opened up. That pattern that I mentioned from Friday afternoon, obviously market gapped down quite a bit heading into the open, but I was hopeful for a much bigger squeeze up or retracement. Obviously didn't get that. So, it's been a very uneventful day across the market. It's been pretty eventful here in the trading room. So we'll see if there's anything else that looks just as good compared to this ALF, at least. The CAI, I'm just going to be wise and skip over like I did from the morning. That's a buyout. SC, I should have realized this too. SYKE was also a buyout. I clicked on that one though. All right, so the GERN trade, this one ended up making a huge push up. This was on our watch list, so took a little while after the market opened up. It's played out fairly well to how I had projected it out to be. Didn't break under and over from 150, but ended up trending down leading into the open. So it didn't pop right out the gate. It took its time. Ended up dropping down to a low of what, like 153, 152. I was off by a couple of pennies. But it ended up building itself back up, broke over its opening bell print roughly off of like 163, I think, or 162, and took off from there. So it's to say that you can't really expect this stock to make this beautiful of a move. Again, it goes like kind of the same line of thinking as the ALF trade, just, what a trend off the lows. You don't always tend to get that. So it's more of a gift in itself than anything. So for this trade to build up from the opening print 162 all the way up just over 65 cents or 60 cents up to the high of the day, 225. You can't ask for anything more. So what goes up, unfortunately, comes back down, right? So you can't get too greedy. Otherwise, you're going to see this drop down faster than it went up. And for right now here off the 180 level, I'm sure it's still pretty active going into the afternoon. It's trading 303 million shares, though. So compared to what it normally trades prior to today, it trades like 1.8 million shares on average a day. I'd say this is pretty heavily traded, pretty exhausted at this point, pulling back still. But I don't know. I feel like we'll find better opportunity here. All right, thankfully, so I filled up my water bottle before I start this meeting. There we go. So PDSB still kind of near the highs. Ended up, I guess, filling a gap from earlier this week. I didn't really focus on this too much, but it's near the highs. Broke over 12 earlier, so you got to look for prints over 12, and at 12, I was right off of like 2:17 Eastern time. Let's see. Let's read the tape. Do some old-fashioned tape reading here. So prints off the ask underneath 12. It ended up filling 12, but not much of an order really at that price. A couple thousand share lap prints, some others here, but nothing really too tremendous. So it's still shaking around that price. You would want to see more confirmation of like a potential breakout from 12. So for me, that would be a bigger order on the ask at 12, representing resistance. Then from that point, if it could break over that level. So it's a lot of ifs, but should that happen, I'd feel a lot more confident of this like continuing. But obviously, as you could see, kind of pulling back down for right now. So even though it's like still kind of near its highs, much closer to the highs than it is the lows, I don't know. I feel like we're gonna pass on this one for right now. All right, SWBI was this Smith and Wesson. Yep, I think they ended up reporting earnings, if I'm not mistaken. I saw a few of us chat about this earlier, so I don't want to talk out my butt here for the most part. So let me pull this up on Benzinga Pro. Yep, better than expected Q4 results. The company also announced a $50 million buyback and raised its quarterly dividends. All right, so there you go. So it's good news on all fronts. So popped up pretty nicely. I heard some people talking about all-time highs on this. I don't know about that. They've been around for a long time. I mean, it looks like 52-week highs. I have to go back here on the daily chart. The latest is get yourself lots of ice chips to chew on. I'll tell you, just the next couple of days at least, at least not being on a microphone, that certainly helps. Mondays are a lot easier than Fridays for me. Either way, enough about me. Let's check this out. You could see back from 2017, ended up testing highs right from here. 2316. No, that can't be. It's got to be higher. 2396 back from August 11th, 2016. So not technical all-time highs, but obviously like multi-year highs. And wow, really? Yeah, you got to go back a number of years here. I went back as many as 20 years. So maybe it's not all-time highs, but over the last 20 years, it's like right there. That's pretty impressive. I didn't really think that was going to be true there. I thought that there had to have been a lot more data where this was like a $30, $50 stock. But yeah, for right now, I mean, it's still near the highs of the day. Good order book. I don't mind putting this on our watch list for right now. Stock's also shortable, so if it doesn't really pop, or if it breaks through big orders on the bid, shows a lot of selling, then perhaps you could try and follow it on the way down. So two things. I could see the SPY rounding off and pulling back down. And then B, I can kind of see some inverse ETFs like popping up on my gainers list and on the Benzinga Pro page. So I see like Dust, gold mining bearish ETF pushing up. I see LABD. I think that's the bearish biotech ETF pushing up. So that means we're seeing a lot of things fall off right now, folks. QDN. I think this was a nice push from earlier today. Just so slow here, so not really worth it here going into the end of the week. When all things are dropping, this one here is pushing up. The one stock that was getting, or one of two stocks that were getting absolutely drilled over the last month or so, between TAL and then EDU. I guess today they're breaking off a bit, whereas TAL is much stronger. This EDU trade's not doing anything. So you know what? I guess given the circumstances, TAL, it's hard to not put this on our watch list here. It's practically right back up to the highs. They're both education-based stocks, and they're moving very well together. I mean, just this past week alone, then, of course, you could just see the daily chart. But, for right now, it just seems like TAL only will put on our list here out of the two. Not really much volume traded above 2255-ish, 2256 here. See that from the right side. All right, let's see what else we got. See here, kind of again, I call kind of late July, early August, the dog days of summer, but this is a pretty good embodiment of it. I mean, really flat market, down market, I guess you could say otherwise, but just really not much to really write home about. CLNE, this one was one of the bigger busts of the day, unfortunately. And hey, this stock made a big move. It ended up actually popping up pretty nicely from 1150-ish up towards 1250. But it took its sweet time to do so, whereas we expected a much bigger move up heading into 10 o'clock here. It was so shaky. So after this point, it was more of hope than anything. And obviously, we didn't really get that until the afternoon. It made a sneak move up. But, more so than anything here off of 12, I wanted a lot more compared to what we really got here. So unfortunately, I hate to say this. I mean, I was doing well on the morning. My first couple trades, I was up, not well, but I was up on the first two trades. So it's bad to say this, but it's still a profit. I was in from 12 on this stock here. It pushed up so well. I was expecting the test of resistance off of 1250 right off the bat, at least a pop and drop or a test of that price. it double topped at 1245. I wasted most of that profit as it came back down. I ended up getting out, I think it was like 1210 or 1211. I picked up like 9 or 10 cents on it. Like, so it was still money, but man, I expected so much more out of this trade this early in the morning. Didn't get it, and obviously now dumping off. So it seems like it's a better short opportunity at this point. It is easy to borrow on TradeStation. I don't know. I'll put this on our side list for right now. See if see what else we got. That's pretty much it from the gainer side here. I got LEDs, I thought I saw just a moment ago. Yep, here we go. LEDS, familiar name. Pumped and up pretty much already here. All right, we'll hop over to the losers list at this point. C-test, dummy stock here. ORPH, I was playing around with this earlier. I saw this drop off pretty sharply, and I ended up anticipating support off of 750. I went scratch, like complete break even on 2 separate occasions here. I just knew it wasn't going to make the move up. So, I was up like 10 cents or 8 cents at some point. For a stock that made such a big move up here the last, week or so, 8 cents. I'm not looking for 8 cents, man, on this trade. So I didn't care about, burning this trade. I wanted like 50 cents easily, or, at least 25 or so, a much better move. So as long as I'm not losing money on this trade, as long as you know when to fold them on this. So 2 separate occasions, I went in from 750 out at 750, and that was it. Just, this thing's dumping off still. All right, ATHA, this was the one I think where like the CEO resigned or did some temporary leave, I thought, from earlier. Squeezed up, I guess, ended up pushing up nicely here off 11. Still down 37% off good order book, and spreads fluctuating a bit, but the order book I think we'll check out. You know what? I'll put this on our main list for the meantime. It's not like the first stock I'm going to list here. I think the ALF trade will take that spot, but ATHA I'll kind of put on at the end. Still could be a good day trade here. And I'll tell you that just about rounds it up. I mean, honestly, everything else is hard to borrow from TradeStation. Not much else that I see otherwise that's like a familiar name. From Patrick, Head and Shoulders, knees and toes, you think on TRCH, Josh and Rich. Well, Rich will be on the mic pretty shortly. He'll be on at 3 p.m. Eastern time for you folks. I'll be back on at 3:30. Nonetheless, yeah, Torch ended up pushing up. It's up 10% today. I guess I just skipped over this. I don't know. But yeah, I should have went over this from earlier today, Patrick, so I'm sorry about that. Ended up popping up pretty nicely right off the high of the day. Pre-market resistance off of 570-ish. So, pretty nice pop. Moved up just about like 55, 60 cents for what it's worth. It wouldn't shock me to see that be used as support later on today. So I feel like this run for the most part is done. We'll call it out if it ends up holding from this point forward. But otherwise, I think I'm going to pass. I feel like this will just pull back down to like 575 here, 570. Saw somewhere that someone thinks ARVL could be a good short squeeze stock. Not today. Not today. We need evidence for that to happen. So, yeah, can't really bank on that today. All right, that just about wraps it up, folks. I got nothing else for you here. You know what? How about this on the flip side before I wrap up? 2 things, actually. I told us in the trading room I'd get to Bitcoin here in the afternoon meeting, just taking us into the weekend. Practically, for the most part, Bitcoin ended up making the exact move that I thought it was going to make, midway through this week when it ended up making that nice pop, teasing 40,000, 41,000. It's actually dropping back down a lot more here, too, towards 35 right now. So let's pop that up pretty quick. We're not going to follow Riot or Mara here in the afternoon here going into this close. But, for any of our crypto followers that tend to follow me in the afternoons when I typically show this chart, you could see this is where we last left off back on the 13th, or no, back on Monday we last left off with. I tuned in when I came back, but it ended up popping on Sunday the 13th. And I said at the time, do not be shocked if this comes back down. It should, and it has, and now it's breaking a lot lower. So we're seeing this kind of dip back down below even like the 200, 100 here, and pulling back towards 35. The name of the game here at this point is to build more support. So looking at the daily chart, you can see essentially it just tested the 200 on the daily, backed right off it. So to see this shake off the 200 on the daily, putting it in a longer term perspective isn't really that surprising. This is meant to be a really strong level here, this 200. So, to see this pull back as sharply as it is here, not really too, frustrated by it. I'm not sweating it really at all. So again, the name of the game is to continue to build support. I wouldn't expect this to drop down towards the 500 on the daily. If it does, then I'm expecting the bounce. But otherwise, heading into the weekend, perhaps we'll begin to see this coil back up, and it might take another couple of weeks for us to see more action on the upside. All right, so that's that. And lastly, I was going to get to this actually first. I wanted to flip Benzinga signals around and see if there's any stocks that are breaking new lows of the day, not just highs of the day. So, you know what? I'll actually show that here pretty quick. All right, so these are stocks that are breaking new lows of the day right now. You can see Macy's up there. And NDM, familiar name. All right, so we'll check out those two. U1's hard to borrow. BTBT, Clove, I see there. All right, so you know what? We'll check out a couple here. I see Clove's breaking a new low of the day. Dropping off here a bit. You can't short it on TradeStation. If you could short it, maybe you can go for it. NNDM, this one's easy to borrow, at least for us, down 5+% at the lows. So you know what? I'll kind of tag this on at the end. We don't really have too big of a list. We can under 9. Yeah, a little slow, though. That's the thing on this one. I feel like NNDM is moving a bit better comparing the two. All right, well, not too bad, folks. I'll tell you what. I'm going to call it for right now. Oh, actually, last one. Macy's, I said. Nah, this is garbage. All right, folks, I'll tell you, we're going to call it for right now. So, again, happy Father's Day for the fathers out there. Again, shout out Henry. But nonetheless, though, folks, we have in total 2, 4, 5 stocks to work with. That's all. That's all I got. Typically, I'm known for building a bigger list. So if I'm putting 5 stocks on the watch list and that's it, that's it. All right. So for all of us in social media, again, just make sure that you like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel if you've yet to do so, that being youtube.com/cybertradingu. Otherwise, if you've yet to join us live inside our trading room, our cyber group trading room here, that Ray and Jeff and Michael and Andrea are all live inside of right now, feel free to join us. Go right down to the link on the banner below just to get yourself started. All right. For all of us there, just keep in mind that Rich will be on the mic at 3 o'clock. I'll be back on at 3:30 to wrap things up here for you folks. All right. I'll talk to you all then.